Did you know the men's marathon world record has dropped by almost 15 minutes since the early Olympic era? And the weird part is, it didn't fall smoothly. It moved in jolts, with a few years doing the real damage and whole stretches barely moving at all. Rome, 1960. Abebe Bikila hits the streets with no shoes on and somehow turns that into Olympic gold. He runs 2:15:16.2. Officially listed there as a world best, and sneaks under the old mark by less than a second. That barefoot image is the part people remember, but the bigger jolt was what it signaled. East African marathon dominance had stepped onto the biggest stage. That warning turned into a takeover. In Tokyo, Abebe Bikila came back from an appendectomy just 6 weeks earlier and ran 2:12:11.2. almost 3 minutes faster than his Rome mark. Then he made it look brutal. He forced the pace from 15K, had daylight by halfway, and finished 4:07 ahead. In an Olympic marathon, that gap is absurd. The record didn't just drop. Bikila blew it open. And 3 years later, Derek Clayton kicked the door off. In Fukuoka, he ran 2:09:36.4, the first marathon ever under 2:10. The old world best was 2:12 flat, so this wasn't a little shave. It was more than 2 minutes gone. In a race this old, that's huge. Suddenly the marathon looks less heroic and improvised, more like the modern event we recognize. From that cleaner, more modern marathon, the record gets harder to move. In Fukuoka, Robert Di Castella runs 2:08:18 and nudges the mark down into the low 2:08s. Not a wild collapse to the line either. Over the final 12 kilometers, he keeps pressing, a controlled squeeze. And that matters. The giant easy cuts are gone now. Records are coming in precise bites, and Fukuoka is proving it can deliver them. Then, Rotterdam lands like a hammer. Belene Dinsamo clocks 2:06:50 on April 17th, slicing just 22 seconds off the mark. Tiny on paper, massive in marathon time, because this record book has turned stubborn. And that number just sits there. Season after season, nobody touches it. More than 10 years later, it's still the line everyone is chasing. Then Berlin changes the script. Paul Tergat runs 2:04:55, smashing 43 seconds off the old mark. He becomes the first man under 2:05, and Sammy Career hits the line 1 second behind him. World Athletics treats this as the first men's marathon world record, officially ratified after the event became a formal record discipline. From here, Berlin starts looking less like a race and more like a lab for pace, rhythm, and course design. And then, the lab spits out a monster. In Chicago, Kelvin Kiptum runs 2:35, chopping 34 seconds off Kipchoge's 2:01:09 from Berlin. World Athletics marks it as the first record-eligible marathon ever under 2:01. The wild part is the split, halfway in 1:48, then back in 59:47. That's the shoe era in one race. Deeper pacing, bolder fueling, and a last 5K that treats 26.2 like an insult. That's the shape of marathon history. Long plateaus. Then one race blows a hole in the clock. Training changed, pacing changed, shoes changed, and the record stopped looking human for everyone except the guy holding it.